Yeah, asking what policies they currently have is a great way to open the door to a cross-sell. Finding out what they have, what they may or may not know about it as well. You might be able to add some value there. They might say, I don't know, I bought this X amount of years ago. May or may not still be enforced, you don't know. So it does open up the door, I think, to a good cross-sell conversation.
And a lot of times it's in a dusty folder in their closet.
Right, yeah, like the old paper.
Yes.
They don't even know, right.
Good morning, insurance agents of the senior market. Welcome back to another episode of Near and Far. It is Wednesday, May 12th. Getting almost halfway through May. Hopefully we're getting past the rain. Good morning,
Hopefully.
Kristen.
Good morning, Bill. How are you?
I'm doing lovely. The sun is actually shining today.
I know.
We dealt with so much rain lately. I'm just kind of over it. But hey, we got an exciting episode to go through today. So today is going to be our second episode from our 1,000th subscriber celebration, where we asked for your feedback on ideas and topics for Near and Far, and you absolutely answered. So today, Kristen, we're going to be talking through Karen Penrod, who's one of our favorite agents. Karen, we love working with you. Thank you so much. Hello. But her suggestion was asking about what are the best products to cross-sell either to a Medicare Advantage client or a Medicare Supplement, and which products are a better fit with each of those and why?
Okay, great question.
All right, so let's just jump right in. So let's start with Medicare Advantage, because I know you've sold in the field, I've sold in the field, so I think this is a good one for you and I to handle.
Okay.
So let's talk about Medicare Advantage. If you have a Medicare Advantage client that you are circling up with, and there's one product you're pitching it as a cross-sell, what's your go-to?
So, Medicare Advantage right now, what comes to mind is the hospital indemnity plans.
Okay.
And the reason is the Medicare Advantage market has really swung towards the zero premium plans. So I think that really opens the door for an agent to have a conversation about I guess it's not a supplemental plan, but it kind of is supplementing the Medicare Advantage plan in some respects. The hospital indemnity plan can help to fill those gaps that are in the zero premium plan. Your inpatient hospital, sometimes the radiology, those little co-pays can really add up. And the hospital indemnity plan just is a nice fit, I think, when you're talking about both.
Yeah. I'll tell you what's interesting when I think about like cross-selling in general is I can remember when I was first in the business and I was talking to someone who's a super experienced salesperson. And I don't know that I subscribe to this 100%, but it was an interesting perspective, is that this person's feedback was people buy insurance so that they can sleep well at night. And the reason why they don't sleep well at night is because they're afraid of something bad happening. So that's what you're doing. You are providing peace of mind. And when I think about, okay, what's someone who purchases Medicare Advantage, to your point about hospital indemnity coverage being pertinent, I would agree with you. I think it's a great fit. But think about it, agents, when you're at an appointment and you're rolling through benefits. What is one area that gives someone moment for pause? It's what's my inpatient hospital copay?
Yes.
Because they think, oh no, what happens if I'm in the hospital for 5 days? What does this look like? And then they start multiplying. And the hospital indemnity plan handles that area of exposure.
And easily it handles it. It's not complicated. It's an easier talk, I think, to have. And you're right, Bill. Like, how many times this AEP are we talking to agents who are like saying, oh my gosh, the inpatient hospital was changed on this plan. I might have to change my clients. Well, you might not, depending on if this could be a good fit, and if they're happy with everything else, let it be, and introduce something like a hospital indemnity.
Yeah, from my perspective, when I'm selling Medicare Advantage, I am so much more focused on the regularly utilized benefits. And I think for me, that drives more sales. I'm going to focus on, well, okay, what's my PCP copay, to a lesser extent, what specialist, what's my drug copays, what's the formulary look like? And labs is one that I generally focus on, because if you have someone with chronic health conditions, they're going to be hitting that like every month. Where the inpatient hospital copay, some people have an inpatient stay each year, some don't. And a lot of times you're in there, it's maybe 2 days. But in terms of being an element of concern, I think you're totally right that for the Medicare Advantage consumer, that's at or near the top of the list.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, for sure. So for me, I actually have taken a different approach with this. Yeah, so when I'm working with my Medicare Advantage consumers, for me, it's cancer plans.
Okay.
That are number one on my list. And my thought on this has always been that if I'm going to cross-sell a product, that I feel like the range of tolerance for additional premium is probably about $30.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what do you think about that?
I think you're right in there. Yeah, 30,
Okay.
35, 40.
Yeah. I think if it's $30 to $40, I'm like, okay, what is the biggest area of exposure I can eliminate for $30 to $40? And for me, that's potentially cancer, because when I look at an outline of coverage, a summary of benefits, and I'm like, okay, where can someone rack up the largest amount of cost? It's on Part B medications and radiation if you get cancer, and that's always the approach that I've chosen to take.
That's a really smart approach. So, and I'll agree with you, because if you just look at what like the standard benefit grid that comes, oftentimes radiology is not even included in there. Like, you have to dig into the evidence of coverage to find it, and the cost can really add up. You know, I've had those conversations myself. So I think that's a really smart cross-sell for agents to just be aware of, have in your portfolio, and when you see that, the person that it might be a good fit for.
Yeah, and here's the other thing that I've noticed, and I'd be interested, agents, if any of you have noticed this, and if so, I'd love your feedback. Hit me up on my email address right here. Go ahead and shoot me an email, because I'd really like your feedback on this. But what I have found with cancer plans and retention is that people are scared to death of stopping paying the premium.
Yes.
Because it's like this mental thing. It's like the moment that I stop paying the premium on my cancer plan, bang, I'm going to get cancer.
Right, it's that superstition, I guess, you know. But I do think, too, that you're really bringing value to your client, because from what you said, Bill, if sleeping at night is why we're here, we're reducing risk, we're helping the client, we're doing some good, it's valuable to that person, you know, to feel that way at night.
Yeah, and one thing that typically doesn't come up a lot in those conversations is all of the non-medical costs associated with having cancer. Like, because a lot of times, you know, you have a spouse who may have to quit their job if they're still working, or you know all of the back and forth and transportation and all of that. I mean, cancer plans really help with that. But that's what I found, at least when I've been doing Medicare Advantage, is that for me in my sales process is really the best fit.
Yeah, I'll give you a point for that. That's pretty smart.
All right. Let's hit Medicare Supplement next, because that was what Karen was asking about.
Sure.
Best cross-sell products for MA and MedSup. On Medicare Supplement, you're in that appointment, or you're rolling back through your Medicare Supplement clients. What is your first option on a cross-sell?
So when I'm talking about MedSup, I think my first option there is going to be to go to dental.
Okay.
And my reason for that is that most seniors, older Americans, when they retire, will lose their dental benefit. And it might be the first question you get, and they might even be a little surprised that dental's not covered the way they think it might be. Yep. So to me, dental is a really natural product with the MedSup. What do you think? No,
I agree with you on that. I think you get the gold star on that one, because that I think was my first choice. But I've still got one to go to. I'll get to later.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah, but on dental, like I do a lot of reading with Deaf Research, and I've been reading their reports for a while, like even before they joined the Integrity platform. And I can remember talking with George Dipple, who works there, and he went over this like shopping and switching survey, which showed all of these consumers who were making plan selections during the AEP. Now, granted, it was MA people, but I was blown away that dental was like number 3 on the list for switching your plan. It was like number 1, doctors, number 2, formulary, number 3, dental. I was like, really? But I mean, Deaf Research knows what they're doing. And if that is so significant that it's going to cause someone to switch MA plans during AEP, then it absolutely stands to reason that selling dental to your MedSup consumers is so pertinent, because, you know, the MA and the MedSup consumer, they're both Medicare recipients. They're both going to be concerned about similar things. They're just covering it a different way. So I think dental is a perfect pick for that.
Yeah, I think it's a concern for Americans out there. I think there's some sticker shock when it comes to dental, when you get that bill and you're not used to having that group coverage you might have had before. And I had a statistic I was reading right before I came in that 40% of seniors have at least one dental visit a year, whether they have insurance or not. You know, so it's definitely a need that's out there.
Yeah, and probably many of the rest of them that don't have a dental visit, they probably don't go because they don't have coverage.
That's another problem too. Yeah. yeah, they're just not taking care of their oral health, and that can lead to other problems.
Yeah, and there's so many affordable products out there. I mean, it used to be that, it was really hard to find a senior dental product. Or if you did find one, it's like, yeah, you can have some sort of reasonable benefit in 3 years. It's like, who wants to pay premium for 3 years before you do that? But in looking what's available now, like the Medico product that just launched, we had done a session on near and far with that. But there are products out there that offer really reasonable immediate benefit for people, so they can start seeing that value right away.
Yeah, you're right. It's not a one and done anymore where you're searching for that one standalone dental carrier. There are options out there, depending on where you live. Some are regional, some are not. But for sure, look into that and make sure you have a couple options to show your client.
Yeah. All right. So you took the number one contender on Medicare Supplement.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give a different viewpoint on this. Because I've actually done this a lot.
Okay.
And this is more a fit for if you're working on a Medicare Supplement case that's an underwritten piece of business. So I would tell you that if you sit down and you look at a Medicare Supplement app in terms of the underwriting questions and a final expense app side by side, look at those questions and you feel like they're twins. Twinsies, here's the apps, they're twinsies. Because realistically speaking, the knockout questions on both are so similar that I would wager to say 90+% of the time, if you have a consumer that you can get underwritten for MedSup, you can get them underwritten for final expense, and again, you can get a really reasonable death benefit for the $30 to $40 range. Like you're probably working in the $10,000 to $15,000 depending on the carrier. I think it's an easy fit because you already know you can get them through.
Yes, yeah, really good point. Again, really smart. So that's a good second one there, Bill.
Yeah, and there are carriers that offer combo apps. Like that used to be more prevalent. So that was a little easier. It's just like, okay, here's the MedSup. Do I want to add final expense? Check the box. We don't see as much of them anymore. But to me, it just comes down to those underwriting questions. And if you've gone through it, you could say to the consumer, Mrs. Jones, we just finished your Medicare Supplement app. I've got your check. I'm going to send that into the carrier. Based upon the answers to these questions, you absolutely could qualify for final expense. How much life insurance do you have currently? And go from there.
Yeah, asking what policies they currently have is a great way to open the door to a cross-sell. Finding out what they have, what they may or may not know about it as well. You might be able to add some value there. They might say, I don't know, I bought this X amount of years ago. It may or may not still be enforced, you don't know. So it does open up the door, I think, to a good cross-sell conversation.
And a lot of times it's in a dusty folder in their closet.
Right, yeah, like the old paper.
Yes.
They don't even know. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
One of the first agents I ever worked with, like right when I got in the business, loved final expense. Like it was his thing. I mean, he sold Medicare stuff, but loved final expense. And one of his sales tips was really cool. He said, whenever you're working with a couple, okay, so if you've got husband and wife sitting at the table and you kind of get to the end of the health discussion and just say, So let me ask you this question before I leave. What have you done to prepare for your final expenses? And sometimes they know what you mean, sometimes they don't. But when you explain, well, when one of you passes away, what have you done to prepare for your funeral costs that probably will run you anywhere between $10,000 to $20,000? And he said that at least 2 out of 5 appointments, the wife would look at the husband and say, "We need to talk about this because you're not sticking me with it."
Oh my goodness. Yeah, true. But that's how it happens, right? It either happens that way, the agent asks, or someone you're meeting with has recently, gone through the process with a loved one. So they're aware of what that cost is, and they might not be prepared the right way. And it's so easy. It's not a complicated sale.
And you're right, because when you think about kind of the drivers of decision-making process or kind of going down the road to exploring, what's out there. So much of it is you just had a recent experience.
Yeah.
I had a good friend of mine who, just had a parent who passed away and there was no insurance in play. And so he immediately called me and said, "Hey, I'm really concerned. I just went through this process with my brothers and sisters where we're trying to pull the money together for the funeral process. I don't want anyone to have to go through that for me. Can you help me?"
Yeah, I mean, that's the reality today, and so I think that's really forward-thinking. Agents can offer a service that's very helpful and will endear you to the family as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Karen Penrod, thank you so much.
Thanks,
this
Karen.
is a great episode. We love the idea. Look out for your $250
Woo!
Amazon card coming to you. Don't spend it all in one place. Or hey, spend it all in one place. What does it matter? It's your money now. But it was great. Kristen, thanks for joining me this
Thank you,
morning.
Bill. Always a pleasure.
Yeah. So we will be back with you on Friday, May 14th at 7 a.m. This has been Kristen. I'm Bill, and this has been Near and Far. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.